delighted for the chance to be here. Appreciate your leadership as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, providing jobs to many of the people in this room and others across the state. We appreciate that. Which gets to the heart of the matter that I want to talk to you about this morning, which is we went around this room and talked to you about what you value, what you hope to accomplish, what you need, what you'd like in your life. You might describe some things about the importance of taking care of your family or taking care of yourself. You might describe some things about how you want to get a house or pay the rent or pay your mortgage or get gas in your car. Or maybe you want to go to school or continue school or complete it or go back to school or other things. But if you think about that list, almost every one of them requires what? You gotta have some money, right? Money. And so for most of us, the main way we get money is to have a job. And if we don't have a country where jobs are growing, if we don't have a country where businesses are starting and expanding, are stable and aren't able to provide jobs, then the American dream for you and for so many of our fellow Americans unravels. And that's what's happening in the United States of America right now. We have an economy where it's not growing very fast or at all. We have business leaders who are saying the government has made their ability to start and grow businesses and provide jobs too difficult, too expensive, too slow, too discouraging. And when we get to the point where our businesses in this country are saying it's not worth our trouble to try to grow or expand or start something new, then all the opportunities that we all count on for jobs goes out the window. And so we got to have a chance to look each other in the eye and talk about why is that so. There are 6 million businesses in the country, 6 million total in the United States. 5.9 million of those 6 million have 500 employees or less. So almost all the businesses in the country are small and medium-sized businesses. Look, the big businesses get a lot of attention and they're a stable force for employment, but the bottom line is most of the job growth in the country comes from small and medium-sized businesses. So we got to ask, what are those things that we can do to get more of those businesses starting and growing? And when you go talk to the folks who run businesses across the country, they say the taxes are too high, the regulations are too heavy, the healthcare costs in the future are uncertain, and it's become too difficult to start and grow a business in America. We need to compete, we need to grow jobs. So I gave a proposal. I got the most specific proposal of any candidate in this race about how we're going to grow jobs in this country again. I gave it at the University of Chicago, Barack Obama's former place of employment. And the bottom line is it's not about all the details of tax policy and healthcare policy and the rest. It is about getting the country moving again by sending the signal that this is a place where we're going to make things, we're going to have businesses growing, we're going to have jobs growing. So here's what I said. Our business tax rate in this country is one of the highest in the world, 35%. But guess what? Not many of the businesses pay 35% because there's all these special deals, exemptions, credits, deductions, loopholes, and the like. So let's have a flatter, simpler tax system. Let's take our tax rate for businesses from 35% all the way down to 15%, which would make it one of the best in the world. But in exchange for that, let's eliminate all those special, or as many of them as possible, loopholes, credits, and deductions, so we have a tax system that's fair for everybody. And your ability to compete will depend on your ability to connect to customers, not your ability to pay off a congressman or woman or get some special connection to Congress. We want your ability to succeed based on your ability to offer a good product or service to customers, not politics. So get that tax system flat, simple, and fair for everybody. And then get our individual tax system simpler and fair as well. There are 6 tax rates now. Let's bring it down to 2. And I don't know how many of you do your taxes yourself or you have the long form, but if you don't now, you may well in the future have to do the long form. Have you ever tried to do that? I mean, it's incredible. I think we should force every member of Congress to do his or her own tax returns without the help of a lawyer or accountant or a tax preparer. Let them experience the difficulty, the frustration that comes with trying to fill out your own taxes. Now, a couple other things. Look, we got to have a successful country. If we get the economy moving, it's not just about taxes. Some of you getting tired and worried about how much it costs to fill up your car or your truck with gas. You know, it used to be 50 bucks. Now maybe depending on your vehicle could be as much as $100 or more. That has a big impact on your family or on your situation. I can see your heads nodding here. So we need to get energy costs stable or declining. And the way to do that is to get more supply. And this president is somebody who has basically put a hold on energy development in our country. We need an energy policy that focuses on more American energy, not energy from the Middle East. I don't know about you, but I don't like the fact that our country is hooked economically or otherwise to places that don't like us, want to do us great harm. Let's have our own energy. So let's drill for oil in Anwar, in Alaska. Let's have more deep water drilling off the shores of our country. Let's advance nuclear energy. And we've got an opportunity now that's a game changer. We've got enough natural gas within the territorial reach of the United States of America to supply the entire baseload energy needs of the country for 100 years or more. And so we should go get that and bring that to market. Some of our vehicles, our fleet vehicles, can run on natural gas. We can have a very different energy future. And then lastly, on healthcare. Look, you know that one of the things that's driving the budgets of our country is healthcare. You may have had a hard time affording it or keeping up with it for yourself or for your family. You know that our school districts, our counties, our state, our businesses are having a hard time with healthcare costs. So we do have a healthcare crisis, and we got to fix the system. But President Obama came to Iowa and other places and said he was going to focus on cost containment. He was against something called the individual mandate, where now in the future the government's going to force everybody to buy a certain kind of insurance, and if you don't, they're going to fine you or tax you. And then he also said he was going to work with Republicans and do this thing and get it done on a balanced way. Then he went to Washington, D.C. and did just the opposite. He switched his position on the individual mandate. He didn't focus on cost containment. Now he's having the government take over more and more of the healthcare system. And that's not the America we want. We want people to have their own choices, to do what's right for them and their family. And if they need financial help, let's give it to them to the extent we can afford it. But let's give it to them directly, not run it through the government or through some big bureaucracy. So those are some of the challenges that the country's facing, and some of them may be on your mind. But I think for most people, they want to know, am I going to have a job? They want to know, what's the price of gas? How much does it cost to fill up my car, my truck? They want to know, can we get this government, this seemingly out of control federal government, under control? And in Minnesota, my state, it had a lot of these same kind of problems when I was governor, before I was governor. We took spending from historic highs in government to historic lows. I cut taxes net over 8 years during my time as governor. We had school reform that was some of the best in the country, telling teachers we're going to not just pay them anymore for seniority, in other words, how many years you've been around, but we're going to pay them for results, student performance, and learning. We did healthcare reform the right way, trying to use markets and allowing individual choice rather than the government taking it over. We did public employee compensation reform, but you've probably noticed people who work in the public sector oftentimes get better pay and benefits than the people who are paying the bill, the taxpayers. And so we told them recently, look, we're going to have to freeze your stuff and reform it because you can't get a better deal than the people who are paying the taxes, and on down the list. But one of the differences for me in this race is all the candidates on the Republican side, or many of them, are going to say many of the same things. But I think besides saying, having to just hear what they're saying, you want to know, did they do it? Did they accomplish it? And so in Minnesota, I've actually done these things under a difficult circumstance for a Republican. And we got Minnesota moving, I think, in a more common sense, conservative direction. And I'm proud of that record. So I'd love to hear the questions and issues that are on your mind. There's something called the Ames straw poll coming up this Saturday. It's for Republicans. It's a big thing, and it's a benchmark for how the campaigns are doing in Iowa in these early weeks and months of the campaign. Some of you may have been involved in it before or been there, but if you haven't, it's a fun event. The tickets, we can get you tickets for free. We'll pay for them, but we have barbecue and Dairy Queen blizzards and bands, and you can come and stay for any part of the day. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. But the voting's from 10 to 4. If you're able or willing to come to Ames and be supportive of my campaign, see one of these folks afterwards. Daniel there wearing the blue shirt will get you a postcard. We'll get you all the information, make it easy for you. Obviously, we'd love to have you there and get your support. Thanks for listening this morning. I'd love to take your questions.